part 2 of my Team New review is here, this time focusing on their lovable platform and destroying furball, Recent Tales. Nothing to really introduce here, other than if you want to go watch part 1 and its review of Sonic New, here's the card for it. But without further ado, let's begin. Recent Tales follow Sonic New and have an extremely obvious niche, being the living easy mode that can effortlessly fly over practically every single challenge SRB2 can offer you. It doesn't matter how difficult a platforming section is, as long as you have enough space, you can fly over it and essentially ignore its existence. Unlike Sonic New, he lacks the versatility of incredible horizontal, vertical and aerial movement, sacrificing any serious speed modifiers or boosts for unrivaled combos through various vertical abilities to stay in the air far longer than he really should, even without ever actually flying. Firstly, his actual fly ability has been changed, meaning that instead of having to spam it to maintain your upwards movement, you can simply hold the ability. Another, more subtle tweak has been made though, which is probably a bit more of the reason this feels odd in comparison to the older version. Whereas the old fly worked based off Tails' stamina, ending as soon as he got tired, no grav fly instead alters your gravity based off how long you hold it. This means that whereas the old fly would immediately begin falling once you stop mashing jump, if you let go fairly early now, you still travel upwards slightly, which makes it feel floatier and slightly worse for small corrections and jumps. Bizarrely, it also doesn't really combo into the rest of Recent Tales' moveset. Usually, the main ability of a character will always flow into at least a few of their other abilities, whereas here, every other ability combos into one another and ignores this one. Holding spin in midair, but not after using no grav fly, will instead perform the boost fly, which acts almost as an alternate mode for it. Whereas no grav fly is built for vertical movement, boost fly instead moves faster horizontally, and you can travel vertically slightly by holding jump as well, but it lacks the longevity and height gain of the original. This is far more useful for combos though, as it leaves you in an actionable state for your other abilities. Namely, you can hold custom 1 upon falling to charge the peel out spring, where Tails uses his, tails to bounce off the ground, reversing any downwards momentum you had to instead spring back up. Just in case that wasn't good enough though, it then also puts you into no grav fly mode, so you can then continue to travel further and gain massive boosts in both axes. One of the more unique abilities that Recent Tales has is the air run, where after running off a ledge, you can continue to travel in that direction for a fairly hefty amount of time. This functions almost identically to running on the ground as well, so it acts almost as a far superior version of Metal Sonic's hover, with better turning rates, running off a sloped edge, causing you to maintain your trajectory and not flatten it off, and the ability to perform an extra in-air jump at any time to cancel it, for one final burst of upwards movement. It does last a limited time, but it's a really generous limit, and you can combo into a fly for further aerial movement. Reaching a ceiling at any time will cause you to attach to it like goes to the floor, as for whatever reason, every character in this pack has some similar ability. Unlike the other two characters' equivalents however, which are entirely situational due to the fact it's either difficult to reach the ceiling or takes an extended period of time, doing this can be key to extending combos with Recent Tales, as it resets all your area abilities and allows you to, you guessed it, continue them even further. Recent Tales then has 3 other abilities, which have led to their own little section not because they're particularly linked, but just because they either don't interact with anything else much, or because I don't really get them. The spin dash has been replaced with the XL dash, which essentially reverses how it works. Obviously, using a spin dash is generally for when you've lost your momentum and need a quick speed boost, losing power as you continue to roll, but the XL dash reverses this so you start off slow and build up that extra speed. I feel that this might have actually been a better place to use Sonic's new control roll then, as this will generally therefore mean that you'll need to be rolling for far longer than usual, and could therefore do with some extra turning capability. Generally though, I don't really see the need to even change the spin dash. Reversing it doesn't really benefit the moveset or change how you play Recent Tales, so it just feels like another example of BuggieTheBug adding custom abilities where they're not really needed. Finally, you have the wind pad and the UFA. The wind pad's pretty boring. Press custom 1 while grounded to form a small tornado that gives you a quick vertical boost. Self-explanatory, and mostly intended for multiplayer. I think the UFA, or unidentified flying animal, is as well, because currently it doesn't do much. Press custom 1 while using no grav fly to create a small tornado underneath you, to pick up pretty much any interactable prop below a boss, which you can then drop using custom 1 again, Some enemies apparently give Tails different abilities, which I haven't really checked, but I do know that the red crawler removes your ability to fly, removing your ability to get rid of it and essentially making it your unwanted hat. Recent Tails is another great moveset overhaul from Team New, and again works great in his role as the air guy. I particularly like how his abilities can urge you towards attempting risky route you otherwise couldn't pull off, managing all of your abilities' cooldowns and timers in the process, and he has the breadth of abilities to oftentimes achieve them. The only real improvement I can give is custom sprites, but I can understand why they're not present or really necessary, and the addition of the control roll to better take advantage of the Excel DAS. Currently though, I'll give him an 8 out of 10. I hope you enjoyed the video, and ciao.